Good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the Tuesday edition of TVC Breakfast. We're here again to give you all the information you deserve to know as we're catching up with what is going on around the world. I'm Ibrahim Shita.
Good morning, Nigeria. It is time for breakfast. I always say that you could be anywhere, but you're choosing to spend your morning here with us on the TVC Breakfast Show. And we are indeed very grateful for that. My name is Olamide.
Indeed, you heard her beautiful voice. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is TVC Breakfast. My name is Nelson Eta with all the details, and of course, welcoming my beautiful colleague back to the table. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Nigeria. Here at TVC, we examine issues critically laced with facts and figures to shape national conversations. My name is Biodu Showuni.
Absolutely. Guess who's back?
I couldn't wait for it. I couldn't wait for it. It's good to have you back.
Good to see you guys too.
Girl, you glow.
It's even too big for the camera to catch. I'm so happy to see you.
You glow.
We're happy to see you.
I can't reach you from here.
Good morning, team. Honestly, I've been watching every day. You're doing such a solid job, and I'm so grateful to be part of this.
Absolutely.
Good to have you
really
back.
Miss
Good
you,
to have you
and
back.
I believe that your fans
We missed you indeed.
out there, they've been asking, where is Olamide? Where has she been? So, Nelson has been standing in very well for you guys, you know, and then it's been very, very amazingly. All right, then. So on the show today, we'll talk about so many issues, especially with what is actually happening, you know, within the Nigerian nation and even the Middle East. We'll also talk about the alleged 2.4 billion naira fraud case, which is involving former aviation minister Stella Odua opting for plea bargain, and people saying, "What exactly is that?" So you have to hold on for that insightful conversation. Also, when we go to Abuja, we'll talk about the Turakis faction, which is going to the Supreme Court after suffering defeat, at the appeal court. Much later, we'll come back to Lagos State, where we'll also talk about what Nigerians are reporting or saying across the social media platforms. But in the meantime, amid the ongoing Middle East tensions, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has increased the petrol price to 1,175 naira per litre from 995 just days ago. Diesel prices have also risen to 1,620 naira per litre, with pump prices likely to exceed 1,200. Many are asking how much higher could fuel go if the crisis continues. TVC News senior reporter Theophilus Elama went around town to speak to Nigerians.
Over the course of the week, fuel price had gone up from over 800 naira to now over 1,000 naira. Many fuel stations are selling at about 1,055 naira to 1,060 naira. Well, it has been said that the price might go up to about 1,200 naira to 1,500 naira in the coming weeks. So today, we've gone to the streets to examine the mindset of Nigerians and to see how much they understand the cause of this increment. Our point of call was a newspaper stand as Nigerians debated the possible cause of the increment. The reactions to this increment are palpable, with many questioning its rationale. But the question is, do Nigerians understand the cause of the rise?
This morning I hear for news, this morning say per litre 1,002. Why? If you increase petrol, house you go increase, food you go increase. Everything they use now, everything they increase, everything don't tire us everybody.
For me, I don't know the causes of it. But all I believe is everybody's just doing his or her own government.
The war between Iran and the United States have been identified as the cause of the increment, which has taken a toll on everyone, both locally and internationally. The impact on transportation is evident, with fares increasing by 50 to 100% in some areas. In Lagos, commuters now pay up to 1,400 naira for a trip that previously cost 500 naira.
Look at the effect of Iran on other people now, because America is fighting Iran. Iran has sent shots to Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and some other people, which actually will hurt them to some extent, to stop producing, to see what might actually happen next. So you expect that one to affect the output of nation producing fuel. You understand? Now, they will not just stop a bit. They want to consider how much they will be selling in respect of the prevailing situation.
What concerns Iran and Nigeria, we are very different from, we white people, we are Africans. Iranians are white people. So nothing concerns Nigerians with Iran. You understand? So I think anybody that injecting that it is because of the Iran war and America or whatever that is causing fuel to high is an irrelevant issue to that person now. You just want to use it to rob people. Iran, they have their own fuel. Didn't we have fuel in Nigeria? We have our own fuel.
In our movement across parts of Lagos, we noticed fewer cars at each fuel station visited. In trying to talk to buyers there, we were told to get the permission of the headquarters before that can be done. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, there you have it. Nigerians having different opinions regarding the increase in fuel price, which is actually happening. Some are even saying that exactly what was the business with the Middle East crisis, vis-a-vis the petroleum prices that is now getting shot up. And that speaks to the fact that a whole lot of people are not, probably they are disconnected with what is happening on the global scene without realizing that whatever happens on the global scene, especially when it has to do with oil, everyone feels it.
Absolutely. I strongly believe, and we've seen this over the past few decades, that the oil industry and the fuel market is on a constant upward trajectory. Yes. Initially, we saw that Dangote tried to price competitively in order to compete with imports. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing that as the oil industry becomes more and more deregulated, he's unable to keep up with that because, like you said, Ibrahim, he has to price his fuel according to global oil economics and not our domestic expectations of him. I think these constant increments are certainly a reminder to Nigerians that local refining doesn't automatically mean cheaper fuel. It changes where oil is produced. It doesn't necessarily change the price of oil. Dangote, the oil industry in general, is still subject to global crude oil economics, inflation rates, and exchange rate realities, and we have to keep that in mind.
Nelson, a whole lot of people need to be, they need to be educated.
That's
they need to be carried along exactly what is happening, because that's where communication comes in. How much is the government communicating to the people? Because this is somewhat going to erode, maybe not in its entirety, the gains that this administration has made, because everything is actually tied, to energy supply. So if that is affected, there is a problem.
Somewhat I think the government themselves are also trying to find a hang over the entire matter to understand this unforeseen sudden crisis that we're experiencing around the world and that is affecting especially Nigeria. But one of the things that Dan Kunle said last night on our program, Politics Tonight, he talked about energy security beyond petrol, because for some reason we have leaned on one element out of crude for quite a long time, and that had become our strength. Yeah. Now that this crisis is now punching hard on that particular strength of ours, it's now affecting other areas. But Olamide talked about being local product doesn't remove it from being affected by global. Well, true, but is there something we can do as a people to mitigate or limit the weight of impact of this global crisis on us as a country, which is recognized as the sixth largest in the world? Is there something we could have done over the years in preparation? Because these rainy days would always still be, come to be. So if we are not putting our house together in terms of, refining, in terms of refineries and all of that, then with crisis like this, we would get hit over and over again. I think this is a wake-up call for the country, looking at 30, 50, probably 100 years from now. Where are we going to be with refining and diversification of fuel?
Mr. Shomi, according to what Nelson said, one thing is because of the fact, for the reason that we have Dangote Refinery in Nigeria, that's the reason we have the price at what exactly it is now, because most definitely it would have gone up. The Strait of Hormuz, we see exactly what is going on there. 20% of global oil passes through there. Dangote sources the crude oil from New York, from even goes to Brazil, Ghana, and some other places. But Nigeria has shortfall. It's getting, I think there was a time we only got about maybe 6% out of 13%, which was supposed to have been received. 13% of the crude oil shipment or something.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Dangote said the agreement they had was for Nigeria to supply 13 cargoes on a monthly basis. On a daily basis.
On a daily basis,
but currently it's getting just about 5, which is not enough. The fact of the matter is not due to Dangote's fault or NNPC. You have to produce the oil first before you can, sell to Dangote. do not forget that a lot of the oil we are producing currently are tied down to contract, forward contract agreement done by past administrations. So we cannot easily take the same oil and give it to Dangote without violating the law. So we know we are in a fix. The only solution is to increase, energy. Yeah, one good thing which I'm happy about that this administration has done, Tinubu's administration, is to resolve problems, the legal problems, constraining our ability to produce, more oil, more crude oil, deep, in the deep sea.
Yeah.
We've been able to resolve at least the one involving Egypt now, so which will bring in 150,000 barrels of oil on a daily basis, and
Absolutely.
I hope more of that will be resolved. But the main issue is to, again, internally to look at what is going on with other countries which are not producing oil, but they're in the same situation as we are, and we have relative price stability in some of those countries. I mean, we have 3 pricing templates currently, which is structured pricing formula. Then you have the regulated window pricing system and our whole market forces-driven system. So we need to look in within that to see what the regulators could do with a view to moderate prices in our country.
Well, it's an ongoing conversation, and I would believe that that is something that will not go any moment now, looking at what exactly is happening, between or among Israel, US, and Iran. But in the meantime, we'll take a breather and return for the newspapers up for review. We'll be right back.